Hi everyone, my name is Julie. This is Keep Calm with Books and Coffee. I talk about books on this channel, mainly books about magic. And if you want to see more of that, you can hit the subscription button down below. And today we are going to read books about dragons. Hi everyone, so this is actually Julie from the end of the vlog because the start of the vlog footage has gone missing. But today I'm going to show you 3 dragon books that I have read recently, vlog style, to keep you updated on what my thoughts were as we went along. So in this vlog, I wanted to read 4 dragon books, but I ended up reading 3. They were Dragon Fruit by Mikhail Lussier, To Shape a Dragon's Breath by Monica Blackgoose, and Fireborn by Rosaria Munda. And these were the 3 that I ended up finishing. I wanted to also read A Natural History of Dragons by Marie Brennan, but that's going to be for another day. That just didn't work out with the timing of things. But the first one I picked up in this vlog was Dragon Fruit by Mikhail Lussier, and this is the story of Hanalei and Sam. Hanalei is a young woman who was an attendant of Sam's mother, the queen, and she and the queen were poisoned. And in this world, if you steal dragon eggs, and there is a very specific process, but if you steal them and use them, then they can undo a great sorrow for you. So through a series of events, Sam's mother did not end up getting a dragon egg, but Hanalei and her father disappeared with a dragon egg, and her father was able to save her life with the dragon egg. Now, years later, we find Hanalei, as she has been sort of through the ringer. She has been through a lot since then, and she has never been able to return home. But through a series of events, she ends up going home to her home island, and Sam is still searching for another dragon egg to try and save his mother. And that is sort of where our story kicks off, because Hanalei gets roped into helping with this quest to find the dragon eggs again, but she knows that there is a huge cost to the dragon eggs, and she is trying to intervene and figure out if there is another way forward. And I actually started reading this because Bree from Four Paws in a Book, as well as Cal from Retrieving Books, were reading this as part of their Not Your Mom's Boozy book club. So I started reading this on sprints with them in the end of last month, at the end of April, I think. And I had a great time reading it on sprints with them. And when we finished sprints, I was at the 40% mark, I believe, and I was really enjoying the book overall, but I did have some quibbles with it, as far as the plot points were moving really quickly. I felt like we were not building any tension with the plot. We were just moving through a lot of plot points, and I really felt like I was enjoying the characters, but I had a lot of questions about what their motivations were and kind of how this whole world was working, because it seemed like we were getting, because we were moving through all those plot points really quickly, we were getting a lot about the world, but not a lot in depth about the world. But I was curious how the rest of the book would go. So that is the point where we are going to jump off with the rest of the footage for this vlog and jump in where I think I'm almost at the end of Dragon Fruit by the time we get started. Hello everyone. It is at the very end of a very long day, so I'm going to do my very best to just tell you that I am just starting chapter 27 of Dragon Fruit, and I listened to the last line of that chapter, and I went "what" 3 times out loud in my house by myself, and then rewound it and listened to it for a second again just to make sure that I had caught what I thought I caught. So I am very excited to see where we go from here. I need to know. I'm off to go listen to more, but I had to give you that little update. I'm really enjoying this. I have about the same thoughts as I did at the 50% mark as far as the plot and the enjoyment of the story. I'm enjoying it, but I could be enjoying it a lot more if we would dive deeper into everything and if the tension lasted a bit longer, but I'm still having a great time. And I think the shock that I just had is going to make things be really interesting for the last 20% of the book. Hello, so I am out on a Friday night. I am actually just picking up a Target order, but traffic is terrible tonight. So I am trying to give myself a little break. So I thought I would update you on my final thoughts on Dragon Fruit by Mikhail Lussier. This got better in the second half. I really was concerned I wasn't gonna enjoy the ending because, like I said, I thought things were revolving really quickly. Like, we just kept moving through plot points and I wasn't getting connected to any of the characters. So I was having a hard time really like getting into the story. But at the like halfway point, we seemed to kind of get deeper into the story. I started to really like what was happening with the characters. I got really connected. I cried once. And I just liked where we went. I still have a lot of questions about the world. I even have questions about the author's decision to have like, because we have dragons, but then we also have the tattoos that come to life, the markings. And I don't know, like both were cool, but I was a little confused about why we had both. When we didn't really get super deep explanations of either one in this like standalone fantasy, but I still really liked it. I liked the world building that we got, and I liked the pacing of the second half of the book. It seemed like we really settled into which direction we wanted to go in with this, so I really liked it. I liked our characters a lot in the second half, and I would be interested to read even more in this world. Things got much more like serious, like the consequences of everything got more serious in the second half. That is where I landed, and I ended up at a 4 out of 5 stars for me personally. I think it would probably be like a even 4-star. I've been trying to score quarter stars, but I think this hits right at a 4 because I did really enjoy it. I think it was sitting at a 3 for most of the book. But then, like I said, that second half really brought it back around for me. Just took a little while. So that's my update. I am 20% into my second dragon book for this vlog, and this is To Shape a Dragon's Breath by Monoquill Blackgoose. Where is my copy? This is my book. This is the story of Anaquis, who is a young indigenous woman who she hatches a dragon egg on her island where her people live, and then is taken to a colonizer or English school to learn the proper way of like communicating and using a dragon. And she very quickly already, we have just reached the school at 20%, and she is already at odds with the way that the English people handle dragons, train dragons, want her to learn about dragons. This is pretty, I would say it's pretty somber in tone overall. It's an interesting mix of historical and fantasy, and so far the dragons are interesting. So in Dragon Fruit, the dragons were like wild animals. The people exploited for dragon eggs and they hunted them, but they were wild animals, and they weren't like super influenced by people or super well understood by people. Now in this book, we have entire schools about going to learn about dragons, how to ride a dragon, how to interact with a dragon, how to use a dragon for a purpose. But the dragons don't seem, they're not like fully talking or anything so far. Like the dragon that Anaquis is bonded to, I can't remember her name. Her dragon doesn't, like, she gets feelings and wants from her dragon, but she's not like getting full sentences or anything like that. It's not quite like Eragon was. So that's interesting. So just the different interpretations of dragons so far is interesting. So we're gonna keep going with this, and I will show you the cover properly. I'm gonna keep going with this. I have to finish this by Thursday for Fantasy Book Club, and then we will move on to our next book. I already have it, and then I also have A Natural History of Dragons that I'm hoping to fit all of these in this week so that I can show you this vlog next weekend, but we shall see. Hello everyone, I am at the 48% mark of To Shape a Dragon's Breath, and I am really enjoying this. I feel like so far this is really well written. I really like what we're doing with it. I personally would want more dragons and a little bit less school. I've talked about this recently, that school fantasy books aren't necessarily my style, but I know why we're spending time in the school setting, because that is showing us a lot of the racism, xenophobia, prejudice. That is showing us a lot of the things that Annaquist is going through and that she has to face going to school here to train her dragon and to like not die, because there is a threat of her and her dragon being killed if they don't conform, which is a constant threat to her. And so I understand why we're there. It's just I would prefer more dragon content, because the dragons are like an itty bitty piece of this so far. I'm expecting that to change either later in this book or further down the line, because I'm assuming this is a series. But right now I'm just like antsy for the dragon content. But what I'm getting is also very well done, very well written, and it's building the world in a really good way. I'm just anxious to get to dragons. But we do get a lot of information about the dragons, and like that there are so many different types of dragons, and we're alluding to a lot of history with the dragons. We're just really focused on Annaquist and her schooling right now. So I'm enjoying this. I'm really hoping that we will get a little more action as we get into the second half of the book, but overall I really, really like this, and I am finding it just a great book. Like, it's very well written and I'm enjoying it. So that's how things are going so far. So I have finished To Shape a Dragon's Breath by Monocle Blackgoose, and this was great. I finished it about a half an hour before I had to go to book club, so I wanted to digest a little bit further before I talked to you, but I also have now been influenced by book club a bit, because when I finished this, I kind of had no idea what I was going to rate it. I had been rushing to finish the end, and there were a lot of things that happened in that last bit, and I really had to like take that time to gather my thoughts, to go to book club, and then be ready to discuss there, and then also come back and be able to talk to you guys. So after finishing this book, I think we are going to land on about a 4.5 star. I loved the concept of this book. I loved the world. I loved Annaquist and her dragon. I loved the idea of dragons in here, that they're like more like cat-like creatures than necessarily like, someone compared it at book club to cats versus dog dragons, and I liked this cat version of dragons. These were such, the author really brought forward some unique concepts and also brought a lot of things to the table about colonization, about racism, about prejudice, about indigenous issues that indigenous people faced during colonization, because this is supposed to be set like, it feels very 1800s America, and that's kind of the vibe I'm getting from it, early 1800s America. So I just feel that she did such an amazing job bringing those things to the table, making it a fantasy world, and bringing all of that together to critique our society and the things that have happened in our history, while also making it fantastical. It was very well done. I do think that this could have been edited down just a little bit. It is over 500 pages, and I do feel like there were times where I just felt like we could have cut a few things in order to make the story flow a bit better. I also really hated how short the chapters were in this, because most of the chapters were like a handful of pages. Like, most of my audiobook chapters were 12 to 13 minutes, like without speeding anything up. Like, at my listening speed it was much faster than that, but they were considered to be like 12 or 15-minute chapters, so they were very short, and I just didn't like that. It broke up the story too much for me. So overall, this was a little bit choppy for my reading tastes, but I really loved everything about how the story was built, about how our characters interacted, about our characters themselves, the like lore and idea of this world, and how chemistry and science and fantasy were all kind of blended together in this, which is honestly one of my favorite things. I love when we blend science fiction and fantasy into like both like steampunk, and this had some steampunk vibes. And I think for a debut especially, it was really skillfully done. There were just a few things that I think could have been done a bit better. And I think will put other people off, so I don't want to give it a full 5 stars without acknowledging those things, because I did notice them and they did bother me, even though my enjoyment was really high in this. So, loved this. Can't wait to get to Fireborn. I think I'm going to have to push this vlog off a little bit longer. I just have been, there's a lot of things that I have to read, either because they're going back to the library, or like this was for book club, and then I have another book club on Tuesday. So yeah, lots of things to read. Hello, so I have started Fireborn, and this is so good. Like, I love it right off the bat. I was really surprised how I looked down and suddenly I'm 10% into this book. We're following Lee and Anna, who are both, Lee is the son of the former regime that was taken out of power, and then he was put in an orphanage and forgotten about because he survived the, like, basically the mass execution of the, like, former ruling dragon riding families. So he was in a orphanage, forgotten about, became a dragon rider anyway. So that's his background. And then we're also following Anna, who is a, like, low-born person who has also become a dragon rider, and I feel like we have to have more going on with her story. Like, I feel like there has to be more background there, just because it's so vague about her when we're being so specific about Lee. But we'll find out. I don't know, maybe not. But so far they have both sort of competed in this bracket in order to become a 4th level rider, and then I think they're going to keep competing to become the 1st level rider, and whoever wins that might become the next ruler of the country. That is my understanding so far. But Lee wants to do this, and he also has all these, like, background things about his, like, dead family going on, and Anna, like, survived this as well, but it sounds like she survived like the dragon riders, like, she was on the other side of the revolution, the one tearing down the dragon riders. So far I'm liking this. I'm a little bit worried about how YA-ish we're going to get with this. I actually haven't looked to see if this is adult or YA, but I'm a little bit worried about the feelings between Lee and Anna, but we will see. Hello everyone. So I just went on vacation and I have no idea where I left this vlog off, honestly. And you're probably gonna get a chaotic last 4 days of May in the end of this vlog, because I have 3 priority reads. One of them is Fireborn, which I'm reading for this vlog. I'm also reading Sunbringer, and I'm also reading Every Time You Hear That Song. Every Time You Hear That Song is going to be in the travel vlog, but I didn't quite get it done before we got back. And I'm on my way to work this morning. I'm really tired today. Today it has all caught up to me. And I stopped at Sheetz to get a sub because I have not gone to the grocery store yet to get replacement groceries from everything I ate before we left, and didn't want to leave things sit in my fridge for 5 days. So that's how my life is going. Last night I fought with Canva to get a video done. That's my pile of possibilities. That's going up today on Wednesday, and I have a wedding on Friday. So Friday's going to be chaotic because it's going to be whenever Bree decides to drop the amazing reading prompt, then there's going to be chaos, and I'm also going to a wedding that night. So it just feels very, like, my life feels out of control right now. So today, Wednesday, and tomorrow, Thursday, I am going to be as productive as possible in my reading life. Ultimately, I'd like to get Fireborn and Sunbringer done the most because I am like 70% into both of those books, and I don't want to carry them over. The other couple I have on my currently reading are technically only at like 30-35%, so I could carry them over and still count them for Amazing Readathon. So we're gonna possibly do that, but the plan is to be as productive possible over the next few days, and we'll see how that goes. I will keep you updated better than I did recently, and yeah, that's my update. Hello. So I told you this was going to be the last chaotic days of May, and it truly is, because I didn't get anything read yesterday. I feel like I'm in a little bit of a slump. I've come back from vacation and things have just been really hectic in my life coming back, and I've been exhausted, and we're a little bit short-staffed at work, and it's just been a lot. So that is to say, I didn't get Fireborn done last night like my dream was, and therefore I can't finish Sunbringer tonight because I have to get Fireborn done because I only have so long on the audiobook. And I've already lost it once. So we are going to try to finish Fireborn tonight, and we'll see how it goes. I have an hour and a half left of the audiobook at my listening speed, so I imagine that I will get it done tonight. We'll see. I have to go to Target tonight and get things for the wedding I'm going to tomorrow, and tomorrow I feel like it's going to be really chaotic because I don't know when the Amazing Readathon prompt is going to drop, and I have to go to this wedding tomorrow night. I'm very excited to go to the wedding. I'm not trying to say like I shouldn't go. Like, a lot of people there that are going to be there that I haven't seen in a while, so I'm excited to go to the wedding. But Amazing Readathon chaos is coming, and I feel it. So we're going to try to finish Fireborn tonight, and then I might just, since we can't read for Amazing Readathon until midnight on June 1st, we'll see if I can read Sunbringer tomorrow while I'm getting ready for the wedding. Maybe that's a plan. We shall see. I'm trying to get stuff done. My 3 priority books are pretty much a lost cause at this point. So we'll see. We will all see how it goes. But I like this book. I like Fireborn. It is really well written. I really like how, I did look it up, it is YA, and I could tell that by our priorities, the age of the characters, sort of how we are approaching some of these like fraught topics of like war and revolution and stuff. Like, some of it is like pretty toned down. Like there's Lee is the son of the former like head of the former regime, and we never really are explicitly told what happened to his family. Like, there are moments where we like get close to it, we know it was violent, but like we never get the details of it. And that was like one of the moments where I was like, this is telling me this is YA. And then I finally looked it up before I gave you this update, and I was like, yes, it is YA. But I really like how we're approaching things. Like, there is a little bit of a romance here with Annie and Lee, and like I think we haven't like gotten any specific romance stuff yet, but you can tell that they like care about each other. They grew up in the orphanage together, and now I like how their relationship is informing some of their decisions, but not all of their decisions. It's not everything that is like, not all of their decision making is centered on each other. Some of it is, as you would with someone you care about, but not all of it. It's just really interesting. The dragons are interesting because I feel like the next book is going to have more dragons in it, because a lot of the dragons in this book are centered around the competition of becoming first rider, and that is like sprinkled throughout the book. And now, as we're getting into these like more fraught times, there's a little more going on with like them actually needing to use the dragons in this military sort of setting, that we're getting a little more dragons, and they're just an interesting dragon, an interesting relationship between rider and dragon that I haven't seen quite like this before. So I think all 3 of these books that I have read for this vlog have been YA, but they are all excellent, and I can't wait to finish this up. That's my update for now. Sorry it's a long one, but we will finish this up tonight, I swear. And then the vlog will be over, and we'll be able to let you know what I thought of everything, because everybody's asking me about these books because I'm reading them and they're all great, and I can't tell anyone, and I'm about bursting at the seams to tell people. Hello everyone. It is late. It's not really that late. It's 9:30. But I have finished Fireborn, and I have realized I have made a critical error because I joined Team Romance for the Amazing Readathon. And I really want to read the sequel to this book right now and find out what happens in the next book, and I cannot. And I need to concentrate on prompt reading for Amazing Readathon, but I have made a critical error because I am so excited to see where we go in this next book. It is rare for me that I put a book down as often as I did with this book because of time, other time commitments, you know, travel, all that stuff, and the fact that Libby took it and I came back to it and I still had that same desire to read it and same feeling of connectedness to the characters, the plot, the story, the world. The author just did such an amazing job building up this world. Like, I felt so connected to the past of what had happened as well as what was currently happening. The dual narration worked so well, in my opinion. I really felt the differences in our characters, and I loved this book. Yeah, I had a great time with this book. Full 5 stars. I think I'm gonna talk a little bit more about my comparison between the 3 at in the morning, but I just needed to tell you how much I loved this before I went to bed. So I have slept on it, and I absolutely love Fireborn. Still 5 stars this morning. I really this book took me by surprise here at the end. Like, I was really enjoying it the whole way through the book, but then the ending and the way things developed just totally got me. I absolutely loved it, and I am now broken because this book was fantastic and also tough one. tough at the same time. Anyway, so I think we're gonna rank these in the order that I read them. It's gonna end up being Dragonfruit at 4 stars, To Shape a Dragon's Breath at 4.5, and then Fireborn at a full 5 stars, because that's just how the cookie crumbled. I loved the different takes on dragons in these books. Like I said, Dragonfruit was very much like they're wild creatures. They are, you know, these like sleek water dragons as much as they are like anything else. And then To Shape a Dragon's Breath, we had the like school setting of Anaquis learning how to, you know, train her dragon and how to communicate with her. And that was really interesting. And then in this third one, we still have a bit of a school-ish setting, but it had more of a competition aspect as well as a military aspect. So these were like across the board, like different ways to take on dragons in fantasy. I would say they were all fantasy, and I would also say they were all young adult. And I'm not sure if Dragonfruit was supposed to be young adult, but the way they all read felt very young adult in the end. So I'm very surprised that I liked all of these fantasies, but I did, and I had a really good time with all of them. And I think that's the sum up to the vlog. I think this also means that I'm gonna have to do more dragon reading vlogs because I had such a good time with these, and I now have sequels to read. So if you have any dragon book suggestions, please let me know down below, because that would be fantastic and helpful, because I don't know, I just haven't been looking at dragon books that much, and I've kind of forgot how much I love dragons because they're fantastic. And all 3 of these had the perfect like balance of dragons for me, because I'm not really a dragon as a talking creature kind of, talking entity kind of girl. I'm more of a, these are like creatures, magical creatures that we can train, that we love, but a lot of times the like talking dragon isn't my favorite. So take that into account with your suggestions, but maybe I would like it. We can try that next time. Anyway, that is it for me today. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any thoughts or feelings or want to share anything about the books that I read today, please let me know down below. You can also like and subscribe down there, and find me on social media down there. I have other platforms like Instagram and Twitter. But yeah, that is it for me today. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.